Okay, I also just wanted to show you how to make a very quick piping bag. Now, a lot of times we don't have that in our kitchens. Now, I do. I have piping bags. I always have piping bags, but that's because I always do decorating. But sometimes I just want a tiny little piping bag. So for example, today we're doing the Christmas wreath and we're only going to have a couple of tablespoons of icing. You don't want to waste an entire bag for that, and you may not have them. So I'm going to show you how to do some very, very quick ones. I also do a lot of decorating of cookies, and for that you don't need big piping bags. So I make my piping bags out of greaseproof paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that today as well. I've also just got out a piping bag, a disposable piping bag, to show you. Now, true, piping bag should really have a very triangular shape, and then you have space for the piping tip right at the end, and it's made for that kind of shape. But it's not necessary, guys. You can still use one of these and just have a normal corner, and you can still put a piping bag in it, but it doesn't work as well because it doesn't hug the piping bag quite as nicely as a very triangular end. But it works, and you don't have to have special equipment, guys. You can always make do with something else. So when I use one of these, what I do is I simply open it up, but then I'm going to hold it so that one corner is in my hand. And so I'm just going to be using this one. I'm just going to be filling this little corner. I'm going to ignore that one. So I will show you a little bit later how I'm going to fill that. And then what I do is I use a little elastic just to tie it, and just to keep it until I am actually getting ready to use it. To make a paper one, you need to decide how big you want your piping bag to be. And then what you need to do is you need to make a square, first of all. And the easiest way of doing that is just by folding your paper up and making sure that you've got a right angle here. And then we are simply going to take our scissors, and we're going to cut along, and we're going to cut along the other side, so that now we have a square, right? And we actually want to end up with a triangle, so we're then going to simply take that and we're going to cut and make it two triangles. Right, so now we don't want it to curl up. So guys, what I do is I just roll it in the opposite direction. Don't scrunch it up, because this one you actually need to be right. So just gonna, and then when I let it go, it shouldn't roll up quite so much. Right, so now I have a triangle, and what I want to do is I want to find the point on the straight edge that is opposite the point of the triangle. All right, so can you see that? In the middle of my straight edge, I want to find the middle of my straight edge. I'm then going to, let's get into the camera, I'm going to pick up my one corner, and I'm going to twist, right? So I'm picking it up and I'm twisting it, right? So I want it right around, and I'm going to aim to put the corner that I've just pulled up right in line with the corner of my triangle, with the edge of my triangle. And then it becomes very easy, because now you can see you've already got your little cone shape, and you're going to take the other side and you're going to flip it over as well. So you've got all your little corners or edges, corners of your triangle. Well, they're not corners, all the little edges of your ends of your triangle in the same place. Right, I'm going to show you again. Right, so we're going to find the midway, the point on our straight edge that is directly opposite this corner of our triangle. We're then going to lift this side and we're going to twist it to that edge there, that corner there. Right, so you can see these match up, and then I'm going to grab it here, holding them together, and then I'm going to take this side and I'm going to roll it around. So I've made a cone. Right, be careful to keep your tip tight. Sometimes what happens is if you let it go, then this unravels and you don't have a very sharp point over here. And the way to fix that is to just keep twisting the inside and pulling it, and you will be able to get that tighter. It takes a bit of practice, guys, but I promise once you know how to do it, it's actually so easy. But now you don't want this unraveling, because if you let it go, it will just unravel. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all the corners and you're going to fold them over once, and then you're going to take them again and you're going to fold them over again. So you've made two little folds, which is going to keep your cone shape perfectly. I'm going to show you how to fill those in a second. Right, while I'm doing the piping bags, I thought I may as well show you how to make a quick glacé icing. Now I'm doing this for my Christmas wreath, so I'm going to use half of the orange that I used, and I'm going to use the orange juice of that to make my icing. What we're doing today is we're just making a glacé icing. And icing absorbs water very, very quickly. So I'm only going to start with 3 teaspoons of juice. And guys, it adds so much flavor when you use fruit juice, and lemon juice is actually absolutely delicious in this. But start off slow. I would rather have too little liquid than too much, because to try and fix it is actually quite difficult. So start off very slow, and you must mix it in between, because you won't know if you've got too much. So there I've got 5 teaspoons of these teaspoons, not measuring spoons, of juice, and I'm almost at the consistency that I want. So guys, be careful when you are mixing glacé icing. I'm going to carry on with this, and I've had a few lumps in my icing, and I'll be back to show you. Right, you want it sort of dropping consistency. Okay, you don't want it runnier than that, otherwise it'll just run off everything that you are trying to put it on. Right, now guys, the easiest way to fill a piping bag is to, depending on the size of your piping bag and how much icing you're going to be putting in, get a little container or a glass or a cup, and then stand your piping bag upright in it, and then you are going to pour your icing into there. Or if you're using a buttercream or anything like that, then you spoon it in. Now, I'm not actually going to use this one today, purely because I am still waiting for my things to, I've still got to make them, and I've still got to get them out of the oven. And if I fill this one too soon, it's just going to get too wet to use. So I'm going to leave that for some of my Christmas cookies. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. So you're going to put just the one, all right, and then going to spoon some icing into it, and you're just going to keep going. You can either spoon it in or just let it drop in like I am. There you go. And then I'm just going to use the edge of the bag to get the last little bits off. And now remember, you only want to use that corner. So I'm going to start closing it here. right? And then remember I said to you I use an elastic just to keep the icing in that corner. So I pop my elastic over. Just going to tie that. Oh, these are my son's little bands to make. I can't remember what they're called now. They used to use them when they were younger. They don't anymore. But instead of throwing them away, I use them in my kitchen now. Right. So there we go. And I'm just going to leave that in the little glass until I'm ready to use it. And I don't cut the end off until I'm ready to use it. And that's that, guys.